What's up, guys? It's Cardfight Empire, aka Josh, here back again with some more Vanguard Zero content, or ZEROfight as we'll call it for now. Name still pending because I haven't come up with an exact name for this new YouTube series on my channel. But we're going to be back again playing Vanguard Zero on our phone today. So we're just going to try to get a little bit into it right here. And then I did tell you guys that something that I wanted to do is just do deck profiles, at least to start off with. So is that coming from my computer? Oh wait, hold on, guys. All right, that's wild because I didn't know that it actually. I didn't know that when I do this system thing that airplays that it would do the sound, but that's cool. Sound is sound sort of kind of appreciated. So, but basically we're going to rock it with no sound here, just because I'm gonna add my own later. So. Yeah, so I told you guys I would give you guys deck profiles and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and go into my decks so that we can talk about our episode 2, which is going to be about Galahad today. So starting off with my Galahad deck, obviously we have the deck build set out like this. I'm going to, as my usual fashion, if you guys have ever seen any of my other series, specifically my Future Fight series, I'm going to go through what I believe to be every deck that is sort of kind of relevant in each set. So when the newest set comes out, I'll just kind of try to do every single deck as I get the cards. I am trying to build every single deck in this game, which is not really optimal being a free-to-play player, but I'm trying to do it anyways, and I'm really putting in a lot of time and a lot of grind so that I can be able to do this for you guys and for myself. It keeps me entertained to be able to play multiple decks and stuff like that. But before we get started today, be sure to like the video if you guys haven't already. Be sure to subscribe down below, leave a like the video, subscribe, click the bell button down below. Sorry, it's super late, guys. It's 3 a.m. But yeah, click the bell button so you don't have to miss any future content going forward. Also, be sure to check out our second channel, Let's Plays Animes, in the description below if you guys are interested in anime, animation, or video games. Also, be sure to check out our sponsor Vision. I got my wonderful sponsor jersey over there. They're also holding a lot of tournaments during this quarantine season, just keep people on their toes and to give people a little place to compete using good old Cardfight area while we can't compete in BCSs and stuff like that. They have a team tournament coming up this weekend, so if that's something that you're interested in, definitely be sure to check that out. Last but not least, be sure to check out the join button next to the subscribe button down below if you guys are interested in supporting the content further of the channel, or getting into deeper things like coaching and self-help with deck lists and all that stuff. But yeah, let's get right into this Galahad build. So obviously, let's start with our starter because it's easiest to work up that way. So starting with our starter, we run one Drangle. So obviously you can only run one, it's your starter, but it has a Vanguard ability that says at the start of your ride phase, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, ride a Knight of Quest Galahad if you find it there, and then put the rest on the bottom of your deck, and then if you rode, you cannot normal ride during that ride phase. So basically this is a ride chain deck. It is also, I would consider it a budget deck because it doesn't really have that many triple Rs if you're considering the fact that of just the stuff that you need to get from the new set. Obviously you still need to have stuff from the old set, and I am going to go over updated versions of the old set decks. So Alfred, CEO Amaterasu, Ashura Kaiser, Dragonic Overlord, boom, all of those decks are going to be covered on this little series here. So definitely look forward to that. All of the videos should be up by the time the month is over, so that it will be right in time to start the new set of things that come out. So that'll be good for you guys to have a database of things to refer to. But yeah, like I said, this Drangle just gets you the grade 1 Galahad, which is Knight of Quest Galahad. Something that I I don't believe that, like, when it puts cards to the bottom of the deck, I don't believe that it prioritizes triggers. It might, like, that's what I've heard, but I haven't had that experience myself of you being able to stack triggers. But I also run Gancelot in this build, and Gancelot shuffles the deck, so it's kind of like your stack doesn't even matter. So you're just really doing it for the ride chain, get free pluses. As long as you're riding from your deck, like, you don't have to ride from your hand, so you have extra resources in the form of extra intercepts, extra boosters, stuff like that that you can take advantage of. Moving on to our grade ones, we have 4 Flash Shield Isolt, obviously a PG, staple in every deck. Like, you have to run 4 PGs. Like, I was gonna say you want to run, but you have to run 4 PGs if you expect to be playing competitively, quote unquote, or ranked or whatever. Because, like, right now the game is just in a game state, in my personal opinion, where it's kind of like I played Vanguard since the original Aichi trial deck, as most of you guys know if you've been following along with my channel for a long time. So I think that this is just like a revert almost to like the original Vanguard, and like triggers matter a lot right now. Like, if your opponent checks the trigger, like even just one trigger can change the entire flow of the game, especially with the way that Zero is set up with the intercepts and not being able to block if you don't have intercepts out and stuff like that. Just like, you need 4 PGs. So that's all I'm gonna say. PGs are more important than they have ever been, and they're actually more important in this game than they were in the old game, because in the old game we didn't run as many PGs or PGs at all, because you would have to have the card to discard in your hand to PG and attack, which back then, you know, we weren't getting all these big hands all the time. We had like 4 or 5 card hands at all times, so using a PG was really hectic back then, because you had to have, you know, the card to discard, and then you still had to block their other attacks too. So yeah, obviously 4 PG. We're running 4 Little Sage Marin just because we want to have an 8K to ride. That's pretty important sometimes. Like, depending on the matchup that you're up against, like you could be up against Tsukiyomi, you could go first, you could ride Marin, and then they ride their grade 1 Tsukiyomi and they don't play a booster and they just attack into you. Boom, that's a 1 to pass. That's a damage that you can miss out on taking just because you rode an 8K. So we run our 8Ks because they're really good ride targets, but they are also very good boosters as well. And it can also make a 21K column with Gigantech Dozer, so that is also important to know. Also can make a 21K column with Palamedes. Sorry, it makes a 20K column with Dozer and a 21 with Palamedes. But yeah, moving on to our next grade 1, we have the actual grade 1 Galahad himself, which is Knight of Quest Galahad. He has 2 Vanguard abilities. The first one that says, when rode upon by a Knight of Tribulations Galahad, which is the grade 2. Basically, when the grade 2 rides over this card, you can soul charge, or you soul charge 1. It forces you to soul charge 1. And then at the start of your ride phase, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, ride a Knight of Tribulations Galahad, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck, and then if you rode, you cannot normal ride during this ride phase. So obviously checks top 5 for the grade 2, gets you to the grade 2, soul charges 1, which helps you prepare for that cost of the grade 3 needing you to have 6 soul for its skill to be active. Which, speaking of 6 soul, that brings in the fact that we play 1 Borgul. So the reason that we play Borgul is at 1 only is because we're not always guaranteed that we're going to have 6 soul. There are a lot of times, I would even say like 50% of the time, where you miss the ride chain completely, you're not able to soul charge, like all that stuff. So, you know, sometimes this is just a 6K booster for the rest of the game in your deck, and there's nothing that you can do about that. Sometimes you just miss the ride chain, and you, like, the reason that we play the cards that we play is so that if you miss the ride chain, you can still work around it and still play the Royal Paladin deck as a normal beat stick Royal Paladin deck. So obviously, during your turn, if your soul has 6 or more cards, this card gets 3K, so it can become a 9K attacker or a 9K booster. Very, very useful. Then, and also something to note is that with Borgul, if Borgul's skill is active, and you also have Gigantech Dozer, which has the same, you know, skill to be active for it, then that will be a 21K column, and then the Palamedes will be a 22K column. So things like that are very interesting for you guys to know, and very, very good numbers wise. So then moving on to our grade 2s, we have 4 Blaster Blade himself. We're going to select this Blaster Blade because it's the one that we got from the first season. So Vanguard Rearguard, when placed, counterblast 2, retire one of your opponent's grade 2 or higher rearguard. So basically, Blaster Blade is really, really good at controlling your opponent's intercept. So basically, if your opponent has double intercept, like just playing a blaster blade and sniping one off could be the difference between them taking 2 damage per game, or you just being able to deal 1 damage by attacking rearguard, Vanguard. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Also, when you run decks with crits in it, or decks that have innate crits, like Blaster Blade becomes that much stronger of a skill because you used it to clear out an intercept, and then your opponent is more likely to have to take this crit attack. So that's very good. Then we have 4 Knight of Silence Gallatin, again just a 10k, same exact reasoning as Marin, and then the same exact reasoning for if you don't get the right chain off, you just play regular vanilla Vanguard with the best things that you can in this deck. And then next, grade 2 is Knight of Tribulations Galahad. So Knight of Tribulations Galahad, sorry guys, I can't even freaking speak, it's wild out here. But its Vanguard skill is when rode upon by Knight of Godly Speed Galahad, which is the grade 3, you soul charge 2. And then at the start of your ride phase, you can look at the top 5 cards for the grade 3, and then put the rest on the bottom of your deck. And then if you rode, you cannot normal ride during the main phase. So basically, you know, just a little important note. Pequeño small note. If you don't reach the ride chain, obviously you're not going to be able to reach 6 soul ever. So really just, you know, try to plan out what you're doing. And then we have a bunch of vanillas in here as well that just will work, you know, even if we don't hit the ride chain, like we'll still be able to make a good field out of it, rush, and get what we need to get done. So then we have, you know, 1 Gigatech Dozer. Like I said, this card has the same skill as the grade 1. If you have 6 or more soul, then it continuously gets plus 3k, meaning that that card would be 12k base. And then moving on to our last but not least, our grade 3 / triggers, which is so weird to talk about, honestly, if you guys have ever watched me do a deck profile, like, just not the way that I'm used to doing it. But we have 4 Kingdom Knights Alfred. I think Alfred is really solid in this deck because it does give you a good ride target that's not Galahad. So if you don't happen to reach the Galahad at all, then that does happen some games. You can ride Alfred, and Alfred is a perfect cover backup ride because it does get 20k, or it becomes 20k attacker if you have a full board, which is pretty easy for Royal Paladin to make. Even if you just make like 16 or 18, chances are you're still hitting a really good number with the Alfred. And then also, since its Vanguard Rearguard ability is, you know, Vanguard Rearguard, you don't have to have this card on your Vanguard circle for it to put in use for you in the game. So you can actually have it on Rearguard circle, boom, activate the skill, counterblast 3, search for a card that you really need, and then put it on the board or something like that. So just a really good backup ride, Kingdom Knights Alfred. Then we run 4 Solitary Knight Gantelot. So Gantelot is actually our Blaster Blade support, but also if we have to ride it, we can type thing. But we really prefer not to. But if you have a Blaster Blade in your soul, you can counterblast 2 to have this card get plus 5,000 and crit. And then it has a hand ability, which is the most important reason that we run this card, and that we run Gantelot on heals. And most of all of our Royal Paladin decks that you see me cover, we are going to be running Gantelots on heals because you can return these to your deck. And that's very good because you're essentially thinning out your deck, because its second skill says return this card to the deck, add 1 Blaster Blade from your deck to your hand. So you're actually pulling out a normal unit and putting in a trigger unit. So that's very powerful, thins your deck, makes you more likely to check heals and all that stuff, even though that's not, you know, what I've been feeling recently, but I feel like that is the right move for you guys to do. Then we have 1 Swordsman of the Explosive Flames Palamedes. So Palamedes just basically says during your turn, if you have 2 or more grade 3s, this unit gets plus 3,000. So basically play this card on the rear guard after you've already gotten your ride chain off, and then you can start making big numbers and really hard to guard numbers, or really hard to get over with damage triggers, that kind of block. And then last but not least, we have the grade 3 Galahad himself, which is Knight of Godly Speed Galahad. It has a Vanguard skill that says if your soul has 6 or more cards, you can choose to counterblast 2, and this unit gets plus 3k and a crit until the end of turn. So basically, you want to be able to heavily discern when you use your counterblast, why you're using your counterblast, what you would like to do with it, or, you know, whatnot. And just really, you know, evaluate your counterblast usage, what you're doing with that, whether you're using it for Blastblade, whether you're using it for Galahad, whether you're using it for Alfred. Like, really just evaluate like what you're doing with your counterblast. And I am going to, like in fashion with my other videos, I am going to play a game here, so that you guys can see. Sorry, not build a deck. I didn't even mean to press that. But so that you guys can see the deck in action. As you guys can see, we were playing this deck right before we did the video, and then we're on a 5 winning streak right now, so it's definitely not a bad deck. If I had to rate it, I would say it's probably about B tier. Now, I hate doing tier lists and stuff like that, because I feel like for Vanguard ZERO, like, it's too early for that. Like, even with the MLB DOT set, like, you could say, oh, this clan is, you know, undoubtedly the best, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to get beat by other things. Like, it just means that, you know, that the most consistency is there for that deck to proceed properly or work properly, so that it, you know, you don't have to worry about, you know, stupid stuff happening like grade lock or not being able to finish your opponent and stuff like that. So we start with our grade 1, 2, and 3, which is really all I ever look for. Like, I don't ever try to put back like really wild hands, because I feel like I might get crapped on because of that. So obviously we're going to top 5. Boom. This is one of those games where I was talking about we don't have the ride chain, so we're just gonna ride. But it also looks like our opponent's VP farming, so if our opponent is VP farming indeed, then we will just skip over this game in the editing, so you guys will see that. Basically, all the VP farmers come out at night, I promise you. I've been seeing a lot during the day now, too, though, with all the cheaters getting banned and stuff like that. Now, there are still cheaters. Definitely drop a comment down in the chat. Let me know what you think about the whole, like, people using the 6 damage bug to kill people. Like, I think it's very not unethical, or I guess you would say unethical. I guess that's a fitting word. Yeah, our opponent is, I think, VP farming. Like, that was just an Alfred early that we saw, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, like I was saying about the cheating, I just think it's very unethical, because, like, why would you try to cheat in a online card game that literally doesn't net you any money? Like, people are just so weird to me, and I'll never get it. Like, I'll never get the appeal of cheating, because I've just never wanted to cheat. Like, I feel like if you cheat, you know, you work hard for something, like someone else works really hard for something, and not only are you taking it away from that other person, which, sure, you can say, you know, I don't give a crap about that other person. You could say all that, but, you know, as well as taking away a well-deserved win from your opponent, you're also hurting yourself. Because how can you be proud of something that you did when you didn't even really accomplish it, or you didn't even really do it yourself? So those are just my 2 cents, but it appears that our opponent is, this is very weird. Like, our opponent's been hitting triggers in the perfect spot to avoid our rush, but he or she has also not been riding, so, and he has the 6k Vanguard, so I think we're going to opt to believe here that this is a VP farmer. Alright guys, so that last game was definitely a VP farmer. Like, I'm so tired. You guys can literally see it in my face, but I'm really trying to keep up this content for you guys so that you guys can have a video every day, Monday through Friday. So that VP farmer really just wasted our time. Like, you guys didn't see it because it's edited out, but that VP farming game took like at least 10 to 15 minutes because my opponent was doing stupid things. No, not another VP farmer. Come on. Well, it's another VP farmer, guys. Possibly. There are those people that lie in their description, but based on the fact that this is Pale Moon alone, like, I would guess that it's a VP farmer. Alright guys, so that last one was a VP farmer as well. We're literally just trying to get one good game here. I'm gonna play one game that showcases like what the deck does for you guys. Hopefully we can capture what we want to capture in that amount of time. Oh no, not another VP farmer, please. Why am I never getting these VP farmers in my regular grind, but I'm literally getting like 1 billion of them when I'm actually recording a video and trying to put out content, and I'm tired? Like, what is this? Alright, so you guys actually get to see me rank up, which is a very rare sight, I guess, on the channel. Like, I'm not even really trying to rank up anymore past Legend 50 for this season, but, you know, the game's got to do its thing, so. And we have an 8-win streak, which is pretty cool. Hopefully we don't run into another VP farmer, because I cannot handle the stress. Like, sure, it's a free win, but it's very mind-numbing. Futang Ugain, yeah, I don't know how to read that description, but it looks like this is not a challenger, so. Alright, let's see what our opponent got. So our opponent's playing Kagero. Starts off with Conroe. Draws a card for turn. And then actually rides Bar. So we stand and draw. So we're gonna ride the grade 1 Galahad. Go ahead and put back this scan slot to get a Blaster Blade. We don't have a booster, so it was hopefully there we took a trigger. We did not, however. And Kagero is actually one of our worst matchups in general for Royals, so I just feel like all the stuff that they have is like way too free. Alright, opponent rides a grade 2 is making an assault against us. And then the rear guard attacks Vanguard for 19, hitting a crit on defensive, which is not really what we ever want. You want that card to be used for adults only, basically. Alright, so we checked top 5. We actually missed there. That's fine, though, because we can ride Blaster Blade and use its skill, so always ways to get you out of certain situations. And now, attack for 17. Our opponent takes it, or has no choice but to take it. And then they do get a crit trigger on defense, which I really love that. I love that, love that. Alright, so our opponent hasn't used his Conroe yet. Chances are he's just going to end up getting a PG with it anyways later. I do not believe I have any ways to retire back row. Yeah, I definitely don't have a way to retire back row, so. So we attack for 11. Oh man, checks a draw trigger too. That's amazing. Alright, so we stand and draw. We're going to ride Kingdom Knight to Alfred. And then we're just going to call this here, and call this here, and call this here. Alright, so then we attack for 17. Our opponent lost a PG to that attack, which is very good. And then we attack for 16, so we get a heal trigger, amazing. Alright, so our opponent's at 3 damage. Very, very good. Alright, opponent's taking an incredibly long time to make their move. Like, I really hate when my opponent just takes all day to do their move, because it's kind of like we're playing, you know, Vanguard ZERO. There's not that much thinking involved in the original sets. Like, I can only imagine if you think now is overwhelming. Now, this is not to discourage newer players, but it's just very, very hard to get into regular Vanguard if you haven't already played for a few years or you know somebody that's teaching you. So our opponent goes for the Dragonic Overlord skill on Vanguard. Uses the Counterblast 3 ability, which I'm not really supportive of, but you know, it is what it is for right now. Alright, so our opponent goes for the attack with Rearguard first. Nice that he's the Heat Nail Salamander to destroy the Marin behind our Vanguard. Which is fine, you know, Kingdom Knights Alfred doesn't operate off of that, so we're okay. Alright, so we are going to use the Alfred skill, Counterblast 3, probably get a Marin if we have any left. Yeah, we do. And then we have 2 PGs and a 3 in our hand. Like, we're really just going to try to go for broke here, dwindling his down his hand as we can, and then eating good. So we do took a heal trigger coming down from the assault team. Boom, and we hit a draw trigger, so that's amazing. Alright, so he damage checks, and it's only a 5k, so 16, and we attack for 27. Our opponent does get a heal, which is really unfortunate. Really unfortunate, actually. We were planning on forcing our opponent to submission next turn, but I guess that's not really possible. Sorry this is taking so long, guys. Like, people and they're thinking forever. Like, come on. It's like standard plus. Okay, so our opponent finally used his Conroe to search PG. Alright, so our opponent goes for the Heat Nail Salamander as a boosting play. Oh my god! Our opponent checks another heal trigger. This is not good, guys. Not good at all. Like, that's what I was talking about while I was doing the deck version of the deck part of the video. Like, when I said that triggers can affect things so heavily, like in this early game stage of the game, like it's kind of ridiculous. Alright, so we're gonna attack with the Rearguard here. Attack the Vanguard. Check 1. Check 2. And then our last column is going to attack for 16. And now is our opponent's turn. Probably one of the last turns he's ever going to make, unless he plays 2 grade 2s here. Alright, our opponent plays a grade 3 rearguard, using the skill of Rearguard Dragonic Overlord. So we're not going to die, most definitely. But I'm kind of just curious to see what the friendship is like now. Did I say friendship? I meant membership, sorry. But yeah, our opponent attacks us twice. Once on, I think once on Vanguard, once on another one. But our opponent does attack and hit a draw trigger, which unfortunately, truly unfortunate, because my opponent chose crit draw. Because, you know, like, what's Vanguard without sacking, right? It's crazy. Alright, so our opponent's using all the retire games in the book right now to just retire all of our stuff free. What we do need to do is... Now, unfortunately, we don't have 6 soul. So, call... And, of course, we don't hit any damage triggers, which is, you know... It is what it is, I guess. Alright. We are going to go ahead and end turn there, considering we can't hit anything else. However, next turn he will most definitely die unless he draws something amazing right here. Or if we get double crit. Yeah, that's the thing too. Alright, so our opponent plays a grade 2 rearguard. Alright, so once again, my opponent is taking forever to move. Hopefully they just time out at this point, because I'm like, oh my god, so tired of this. Alright, 3 bar. Oh, okay. And it was good while it lasted. So our opponent attacks our rearguard for 11. And attacks our rearguard for another 11. And then it's going to attack with it, Vanguard, and we are going to sell beauties. So he does get a draw trigger. Please just no heal, please no heal, please no heal. Okay, awesome. So our opponent does PG that as well. And so we attack for 8 to his rearguard. He only has 1 card in hand, so best case scenario is Papa, and this is very funny. So we do hit a heal trigger, giving the heal power to our Paladin needs, and then a crit trigger. So if that's not a PG in hand, that's probably GG no re. Yeah, okay, so yep, so our opponent gave up here. So yeah, that was our one game that we're gonna do. I honestly can't continue on because there's just too many VP farmers, and I will try to maybe in a different video get a Galahad game going or something like that. Or if you guys are interested in that, just join the membership, like hit the join button, so that you can check out what it takes to get into that, and then you guys can see all of the private content that you want from me. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Zero content video on Galahad. This has been Josh from Cardfight Empire, and I will see you guys on tomorrow's Future Fight video. Peace, guys.